Wide Wargamers, Omega Warlord here, and I'm glad that you're back with me for our How to Play series. We're going to start going over the shooting phase this time, and we're going to start with, well, your two choices. So I've got a couple of models here in front of me, and you always have two choices in the shooting phase. Well, I say always. Most of the time, normally. Okay, there are some codex things that can change this, but you can either shoot or you can run. Okay? To run, all you gotta do is roll the dice, and you can go that many inches. Simple. Okay? So now we're going over the shooting part, which is a little bit more complex. So the shooting takes place in a sequence. All right, I'm going to go over the first three in this video because I got to go into some other information. So the first thing is you need to nominate a unit. This one. So I'm going to nominate this unit to shoot. Good job, you've done your first sequence. Okay, the second one is you got to choose a target. So you got an enemy target out there, you're going to choose a target. Awesome. Third, select your weapon. This is where we got to get some more info, okay? We got to select our weapon systems, but you have to know a little bit more about weapons before you can move forward. So, I'm going to talk weapons. Each weapon has its own specific profile, okay? We're talking ranged weapons. There are melee weapons. Those weapons come later in the assault phase. Not the melee phase, like I tried to say. The assault phase. So, we're going to talk about ranged weapons. Now, the weapon has a specific range given to you in inches. It has a specific strength. Just like a characteristic that we did earlier, they have their own characteristics. It has what's called an armor-piercing value, or an AP value, and it has a type, okay? So the range is in inches, or it could say template. Now that's going to be one of these little teardrop template things that you get to use. That's also comes to special rules. When we do special rules, we'll talk about that. Strength, anywhere from 1 to 10, sometimes it's a dash or X. Those weapons have extra special rules. The higher the strength, the better. Good thing to know. Because AP is anywhere from dash to 1. The lower the AP, the better. Yeah, that can get confusing. Some people don't know. Strength is higher is better. Armor piercing, lower better. Okay? I'll talk about why when we get to saves. Now, the type of the weapon, there's 8 major types of weapons. Okay? You've got rapid fire weapons, assault weapons, pistol weapons, heavy weapons, ordnance weapons, salvo weapons, bombs, and primary weapons. The last two are really only on vehicles, okay, but I'm going to talk about them a little bit. So let's go back to the beginning of the list. Rapid fire weapons. Here's the deal. They have a range, let's say 24 inches or even 30 inches. What you can do is you can move and fire that weapon at that range. You get one shot. If you're within half of that range, so 12 inches or 15 inches, for example, then you're going to be able to fire 2 shots. Good stuff. Get closer, fire more. That's really about it. That's a rapid fire weapon. Okay? Assault weapons always get the amount of shots it says. So it might say, for example, range 24 inches. Let's say strength 4, AP 5, assault 2. That means you get 2 weapons. Okay? 2 weapons. 2 shots. That means you get 2 shots. Alrighty? The number next to the type tells you how many shots you get. Rapid fire are almost always single shot, then double shot at half range. Assault weapons will give you a number. Assault 2, Assault 3, okay, Assault 30, if that exists. The next weapon type is pistols. Pistols are usually 12-inch range, 16-inch range, not 16, 6-inch. Maybe 18, maybe, okay, but typically 12. And they're just a one-shot weapon, yay. Heavy weapons, now they can have various ranges, okay? Anywhere from like a 6-inch heavy weapon to a big, like 96-inch big blasting thing. So, they have lots of different ranges. The trick is with a heavy weapon, if you moved, you can't fire it as well. Alright, you can only fire what's called snapshots. Alrighty? We'll do that when we roll to hit. And ballistic skill. That's the next segment. But you can only fire snapshots. Alright, so you also have ordnance weapons. You cannot move and fire those at all. No. You have salvo weapons. They fire differently depending. If you stand still, you get the full amount. If you move, half range, and the other amount. It'll give you a second one. It may say salvo 3/2. If it's range 18, salvo 3/2. If you move, it's range 9 with 2 shots. If you stand still, it's range 18 with 3 shots. Now, you can always try to fire more, again, using snapshots. You have bombs. Those are really only on flyer vehicles, and they will fly and bomb and then go boom. And then you have primary weapons. Those are on super big old things, and they have their own special rules as well. But let me give you some examples real quick. So I've got here in front of me some Space Marines, okay? Some of my Imperial Fist Space Marines. Now, to show you, most Space Marines come with what's called a bolter. Okay? This is a rapid fire weapon. Alright, so it's going to fire 24-inch range or 2 shots at 12. I've got here a Space Marine with a las cannon. This is a heavy weapon. He can't move and shoot this as effectively. Alright? I've got one here with a pistol. He's with a pistol. Okay? And then I also have one here with a melt-a-gun. This is an Assault 1. So you get 1 shot. Alright? So that's how the different weapon systems work. Now, like I said, how you move determines how they fire. So if you go back to thinking about the movement phase, okay, then you need to pre-plan before you go on to your shooting phase. That way you know, hey, did I move this guy? Did I not move this guy? How's this going to work? All that kind of stuff. So that's the beginning there of the shooting phase. You got to run if you want, or shoot. Okay. Actually, you can also decide not to shoot, just if you want to. Then you nominate a unit. This one. Choose a target. That one. And then you select your weapons. I'm going to fire this, 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 and this. And then once you know your weapon profiles, you can proceed on to the next phase. In our previous video, we talked about the beginnings of the phase and some of the weapons that you're going to be using. So in this one, we're going to talk about rolling to hit, checking your range, your line of sight, that kind of stuff. So I'm really glad you're joining us. Let me take you on the journey. All right, so here we go. First off, we got to, once we've picked our target, then we've got to start measuring. So join me here for the measuring system. So, as I explained earlier, okay, we got to check our ranges on our weapons. Now what I've got here, I've set up a little scenario and I'm going to go ahead and tell you what's going on. So these Space Marines, 2 little squads here, and then I've got some Plague Bearers and I've got some Plague Marines here, so I can give you some different statistics. Okay, these Space Marines here have bolters and a las cannon, so I've got rapid fire weapons and a heavy. I've got rapid fire weapons, a pistol, and an assault weapon. Okay? All different strengths and different stuff like that. I'm going to walk you through this system. So the first thing we do is we select a unit, nominate a unit. Boom! This unit right here. That's what I'm going to decide I'm going to do. And then we're going to select a target. I think I want to fire at the Plague Marines here. And then we're going to select the weapons. I'm going to go ahead and fire everything to the best of my ability. Now we've got to check line of sight and we've got to check range. So what I'm going to do here, you're going to do this, especially some of you young, spry folks. Let me down here. All right, so you actually look here at the model's eye view. There you go. So I can see just about everybody. Strangely enough, none of my guys can see this dude. So he actually can't die. So I can see just about everybody else. And you can draw a line of sight from anywhere on the model. You can draw it from the head, from the shoulder, from the toe, anything that's not a gun, basically. So good. I've got line of sight to everybody but him. Now I got to check my range. So I've got bolters. I got a pistol, and I got a melt-a-gun. Now, melt-a-gun's range 12, the pistol's range 12, the bolters are range 24, and as we were doing our types, bolters are rapid fire, pistol gets 1 shot, and the melt is assault 1. Okay, so now I'm going to check my range, get my tape measure out. Now you noticed earlier in the videos I always say put it down to move stuff. This is one where it's easier just to float it. So you just set it over the base of the model, and you got to measure from base to base. So my melt-a-gun has range to here, here, and not there. So you can only kill those 2 guys. And my pistol has range to this guy. So you can only kill that guy. And then my bolt guns, at 12-inch range, well, he can't fire 2 shots. He's not within his half range. But they're range 24. So you can see that's plenty there. So he gets to fire 1 shot. This guy gets to fire 1 shot. Oh, that guy's in range. He can fire 2. So now we got to tally up our dice. Okay? We've got 1 bolt gun shot. 1 bolt gun shot, 2 bolt gun shots. Okay, now the bolt pistol is the same kind of idea as the bolt gun. So typically we'll just roll that in together with the same dice. Now I've got a different weapon fire in here. Different stats, different strengths, different AP. I want to use a different colored dice. This is something that you can use called speed rolling. Use a different colored dice, always signify what it is. I'll say, that's a melt-a-gun. Okay, these are my bolt guns. It makes the game go a little faster and it makes you look like you know what you're doing, which is always good. So I'm going to pull these together. I have selected my target. I have checked range. I have checked line of sight. Now I need to roll a hit. Okay, so I'm going to roll a hit, and I have no idea what I'm looking at because I didn't tell you how to roll a hit. Here's what you do. You take your ballistic skill. Remember characteristics from earlier videos? You take your ballistic skill. That's the BS, not the WS, the BS. And you actually subtract that number from 7, and you need that number or higher to hit. So for a Space Marine, Their ballistic skill is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3, so I need a 3 or higher to hit. So if you look here, I got 2 6s, I got a 3, I got a 4, and those. They don't hit, I just take them out. Okay? It's really that simple on rolling to hit. Alrighty, so let me do another roll so you guys can see here. I'm going to do the exact same roll here. Roll, da-da-da-da-da. Alright, there's my dice. How many did I hit? If you said 5, you're correct, okay? Because I got 4 bolt shots and the melt the gun, okay? Now there are some instances where, let's say you have a ballistic skill over 5. Well, 7 minus 5 is 2, so I need 2 or higher to hit. What if I have a 6? 7 minus 6 is 1. I need a 1 or higher. I can't miss. Sadly, you can still miss. Ones always fail. So what they've done now is you're allowed to re-roll to a different number, and it's kind of weird. It's just it gets better the higher you go. So a 6, you have to re-roll to a 6. A 7, you re-roll to a 5. All right, an 8, you re-roll to a 4. And that's the pattern, okay? That's the pattern that you're going to be using. So when you get to that level, there's charts in the book that you can look at. I highly suggest you look at them. All right, in fact, let me do this. Here's my book. I want to flip real quick to show you the chart. It's on page 33 of your book. It's here in this black section. Okay, I'm not going to read it to you because reasons, but that's a chart you can look at, or you can use the sequence I just told you. So that's what we need to hit. So now, nominate unit, pick target, roll to hit. Let's make sure I got the right amount of dice. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, and melt it. Here we go. Rolling to hit. Yay, I missed. Okay. Before I forget, these are Thaven's dice, so if they roll really bad, you can blame him. Now, so I got these many hits. Okay, now we got to roll to wound. Now, rolling to wound is a process if you don't really know it. Basically, there's a whole chart on that. Okay, and it is a bit better to look at. So it looks like this. I can't leave it on there for too long, but it's a chart where if the strength of the weapon and the toughness of the person are the same, you need 4s. From there, it kind of branches out. If the strength of the weapon is higher, the dice get lower, all the way down to 2. If the toughness of the person is higher, the dice get higher, all the way up to 6. And sometimes you can't hurt them at all, okay? But that's all based on the chart. That's a chart that I'd like to have. If you're playing the game, especially if you're new, just have that chart ready. There's one in the book on page 34. There's also one in the back of the book in the reference sections. Okay, if you're playing as long as, say, I have or Necro Guardsmen have, then we've got the chart memorized. It hasn't changed in a couple of editions, and it's kind of nice. So we've got that memorized. So what have we got here is I've got my 3 hits, and I'm going to walk this through. So now what I get to do is I get to roll to wound. Okay, so these are strength 4, and the melted gun is strength 8. Now the toughness of a Plague Marine is toughness 5. Okay, pretty tough, really. So the strength 4 needs 5s and higher. The strength 8 needs 2s and higher. That's in the chart. There's ways you can do it however you want to internalize it, but that's in the chart. So I'm just going to roll these together and see what I get. Alrighty. So if you see here, even though I hit 3 times, doesn't mean I caused that much damage. This one right here didn't wound. It might have hit him. Maybe it hit him, you know, just grazed his shoulder, or maybe it hit the ground in front of him and I thought I hit him. Okay, but it didn't hurt him. So now I've got these 2 wounds. Okay. Now once we're up to the roll of wound phase, that's what's going to be in the next video. That can get a little dicey. See what I did there? Yeah, you liked it. All right, so we're going to do that in the next video, in the roll of wound. But I'm going to go through a different sequence for you. Okay. So now we nominate our target, we roll the hit, we roll the wound, and then we cover what happens to that in the next video. Let's take a look at this one over here, okay? This one has rapid fire weapons and a heavy weapon. Now, I'm going to give you a scenario. This one happened to move, okay? I got to talk about snapshots. So this squad, all of them, happened to move. Now, that doesn't affect our rapid fire weapons, okay? And they're going to shoot at this Plague Bearer squad. So I'm going to check, I nominate my unit. Got a target, check my range and my line of sight. You can do that in either order, it doesn't matter. Also, before I forget, you can measure any range at any time, like I said earlier. So let's say I wanted to shoot over here and I'm not in range. Okay, cool, I'll just switch over here. As long as you haven't rolled the dice, you can switch. It's basically the rules we play by. So I'm checking my range. Okay, good, I'm within 12, I'm within 12, I'm within 12. That means they all get 2 shots. And the last cannon has range 48, which is the long side of the table. So you've got plenty of room there. So they all get 2 shots. So that's bolt gun, bolt gun, bolt gun, bolt gun. And again, I've got a different weapon, different dice, different color, okay? Works really well. Now, let's say I moved. Well, our rapid fire weapons aren't affected by movement, so they get to fire just like usual. But our heavy weapon is. He can only fire snapshots. Here's what a snapshot does. It automatically reduces your ballistic skill, so his is normally 4, it reduces it to 1, which means you need 6s to hit, okay? That's really all it does. So I'm going to roll on these plague bearers. There we go. Lots of dice, lots of hits. Now, again, the Space Marine's ballistic skill is in fact 4, okay? Except for the las cannon, his ballistic skill is 1. So now you need to think about, what do I need to hit? So take a look. All right, tally up how many I hit there. Those 2 missed. Everything else hit. And then I roll a wound. So I'm doing the strength of the gun versus the toughness of the plague bearers. The gun strength here is 4. The las cannon didn't hit, so we don't have to worry about him anymore. So we all have the same dice. The plague bearer's toughness is 4. Okay, they're a little tough little demons. Those 2 are the same, right? You need 4s. Here we go. You need 4s to wound. Oh, I didn't wound as well as I hit. Okay, I ended up wounding 3 times, and at that point, we go to saves and casualties and things like that. So that's basically it. All right, once you have nominated your unit, selected your target, picked your weapon, check range, check line of sight, you gotta get down there and really look. This is a 3D game, people. Can't all be played in 2D. All right. Then you roll the hit, roll the wound, and then you do the next step, which will be covered in the next video. All right, so I really hope you liked it. Share us, like us, subscribe us. Check me in the next video. I'll finish out the shooting phase, and I hope to see you then.